23 shots, 70% possession, 1.82 expected goals, and the final scoreboard, absolutely blank. Belgium, packed with some of the most celebrated players their generation has produced, were completely, utterly shut out by Iran at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. They finished with 10 men. They had a goal ripped away by VAR. And one man, one phenomenal man in goal, stood between them and any points whatsoever. This is a full-blown crisis. So how did one of the most talent-stacked squads at this World Cup produce nothing? Let's break it all down. Welcome to SoccerVault, the sharpest World Cup 2026 breakdowns on YouTube. I'm your host, and this one had everything. Drama, controversy, a world-class goalkeeper performance, and a red card that may have ended Belgium's tournament hopes. Subscribe, drop your Group G prediction in the comments right now, and let's get into it. Belgium entered this match carrying enormous pressure. This was supposed to be the year. Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, Thibaut Courtois, the final chapter of a golden generation that has never quite delivered when it mattered most. But De Bruyne turns 35 this summer. Lukaku has barely played competitive football this season at Napoli, battling through injury after injury. Their tournament opener against Egypt in Seattle ended in a nervy 1-1 draw. Lukaku forced an own goal seconds after coming on as a substitute, and while that salvaged a point, it was not a statement of intent. It was a warning sign. Iran, meanwhile, arrived at SoFi Stadium in excellent spirits. Their Group G opener against New Zealand ended 2-2, a high-energy, end-to-end match that showed Captain Mehdi Taremi and his teammates were not here simply to defend and hold on. They had ambition. They had a game plan. And coming into matchday 2, they knew a point against Belgium would put them firmly in control of their World Cup destiny. The stakes were crystal clear. Belgium needed a win to take control. Iran needed a draw to stay in the driving seat. What followed was one of the most dramatic, maddening, utterly gripping goalless draws in recent World Cup history. From the first whistle, Belgium took control. Kevin De Bruyne, still elite in his reading of the game, still dragging teammates into space with his passing, orchestrated wave after wave of attack. And Leandro Trossard was magnificent in the first half, creating 5 chances for De Bruyne alone. Let me give you that number in full context. 5 chances from one player to a single teammate, because that is, remarkably, the highest by one player for a single teammate in a World Cup match since Bastian Schweinsteiger set up Michael Ballack repeatedly for Germany against Sweden back in 2006. World Cup records being broken, and still no goal. Then came the VAR moment that will define this match forever. Iran worked a brilliantly rehearsed free kick routine. The ball broke perfectly to Mehdi Taremi, and he finished clinically into the net. The stadium erupted. Iran's supporters were on their feet. The flags were waving. But before the celebrations had even reached full volume, VAR stepped in. Offside. Taremi, by the finest of margins, was fractionally beyond the last defender. Goal disallowed. The look on Taremi's face said absolutely everything. Heartbreak. And the kind of VAR call that makes you want to throw something at the nearest screen. Belgium survived the first half somehow and came out for the second period still in control, still the dominant side, still creating chances, and then, at the 66th minute, it all collapsed. Defender Nathan Ngoy, under absolutely no real pressure, attempted a routine pass back to Courtois. He miskicked it, the ball broke loose into open space. Taremi, brilliant, relentless Taremi, pounced immediately, bearing down on goal with only the goalkeeper to beat. Ngoy had no choice. He brought him down. Straight red card. Denied a clear goal-scoring opportunity. No argument, no appeal. Just pure, catastrophic self-destruction at the worst possible moment. From there, Belgium were fighting with one hand behind their back. 10 men, 25 minutes remaining, against a disciplined Iranian side and a goalkeeper who had already shown he was unbeatable. Because let us talk about Alireza Beiranvand, because this performance deserves its own chapter. 7 saves, including a stunning stop from Mickey van de Kuiper's thunderous volley off Yuri Tielemans' sublime, chipped pass. high claims under immense pressure, reflex stops from close range. His expected goals prevented figure was 1.70, meaning he stopped roughly 1 3/4 goals that statistics said should have beaten him. He was named player of the match, and it was not even a debate. Belgium fired 23 shots at him. 23. And Lukaku, the man who should be converting those moments, sent a headed chance flying into the stands, nowhere near the target. He has barely played this season. The pace is gone. The sharpness is gone. And tonight was another painful reminder of just how far the Belgian striker machine has fallen. Here is my hot take, and I genuinely want you to challenge me on this. Belgium must drop Romelu Lukaku to the bench for their final group game. Not because of his legacy, not because of what he has been, but because the Romelu Lukaku at this tournament is not physically capable of performing at the level this moment demands. He's coming off an injury-plagued season. The touch is hesitant. The movement is labored. That header tonight, a chance a sharp Lukaku converts 9 times out of 10, missed the target completely. De Bruyne is still creating at an extraordinary level. Trossard is in the form of his life. Belgium are generating chances. What they desperately, urgently need is a finisher who can actually put the ball in the net when it arrives. The argument that Lukaku deserves to start because of his career achievements is understandable, but this is not a testimonial dinner. This is a World Cup group decider. And sentiment, right now, is Belgium's biggest enemy. So where does Group G stand after matchday 2? Egypt are top with 4 points. They beat New Zealand 3-1 tonight in Vancouver. With Mohamed Salah and Omar Marmoush brilliant throughout, Egypt's first World Cup win in over 3 decades. Iran sits second on 2 points, ahead of Belgium only on goals scored. Belgium are third, also on 2 points. New Zealand are bottom with 1 point, but mathematically still alive. The final matchday 3 is going to be an absolute knife edge. Belgium must beat New Zealand, which sounds straightforward, but after 2 draws, 0 goals, and now Ngoy suspended, is anything but comfortable. Iran face Egypt in what promises to be one of the most intense group deciders of the entire tournament. Iran need a draw or better to qualify. Belgium have no margin for error. 1 slip, 1 more goalless draw, and a golden generation exits at the group stage. Again, Belgium's World Cup is hanging by the thinnest of threads, and tonight they have nobody to blame but themselves. 23 shots, 1 reckless red card, VAR heartbreak for Iran, and Beiranvand, an absolute wall in goal. So tell me, do you think Belgium can still make it out of Group G? Drop your prediction right now in the comments. Smash that like button, it genuinely helps the channel more than you know. Subscribe to SoccerVault so you never miss a World Cup update. I will see you in the next breakdown.